By the mid-1960s, Bruce McLaren was already a well-established top driver within Formula One and global motorsport, having become the youngest Grand Prix winner and achieving multiple victories and podiums with the Works Cooper team and their revolutionary mid-engine Formula One car. It was becoming clear to Bruce that over time the team had become too comfortable with their advancements, and started slouching on developing their cars further and capitalizing their gains. This frustrated Bruce, who was usually a very hands-on driver with development and mechanical aspects of racing, leading him to believe that staying with the Cooper team would ultimately get him nowhere. So he decided to take a risk and follow in the footsteps of his friend and mentor Jack Brabham in creating his own F1 team, a team that would immortalize the name McLaren for forevermore. While Bruce continued to race for Cooper until the end of 1965, he would begin developing his own team by establishing the Bruce McLaren Racing Team on the 22nd of May 1963, cultivating a small yet determined and passionate team into building their first race car from the ground up that very same year, the McLaren Mark 1A. The M1A was the foundational machine for the team, designed by Bruce and Tom Hilder to put on full display McLaren's racing pedigree. Designed for the Group 7 sports prototype regulations, a regulation set with an infamously small rulebook, which allowed for immense freedom when it came to the M1A's design, with the car's pace proving to be very quick, reportedly lapping around tracks faster than F1 cars of the time. An immense amount of interest in the young startup followed, and McLaren managed to produce 24 models of the M1A and 1B. But going racing, even in the 60s, was an expensive venture, especially for a brand new manufacturer, and Bruce had to search for sponsors and effective business ventures. Lucky for McLaren, a great opportunity was forming across the pond.
In the manufacturer's class, Cobra creator Carroll Shelby, whose Cobras were...
All over America and Canada, a collection of independent sports car races were popping up throughout the early 60s and gaining a large amount of traction, bringing in fans and global talents alike, with racing organisers taking advantage of famous European talents travelling to the Americas for the final rounds of the Formula One season, and further enticing the talents by the large prize pools and offering appearance money for famous talent. Eventually these 6 races would come together to form a new off-season championship, the Canadian-American Challenge Cup, or more commonly known as Can-Am. It was to be a prototype sports car series consisting of 6 two-hour sprint races, and became synonymous with the beastly Group 7 machinery. With the little amount of rules and regulations making the series a designer's wet dream, teams would bring the most cutting-edge machinery to race there. Having recently developed their very first Group 7 machine, compounded with the lucrative American market and prize money, the new series was a perfect opportunity for the young McLaren team to go racing. With Bruce entering in Can-Am's first season piloting their upgraded M1B alongside teammate and fellow Kiwi, Chris Amon. Both Bruce and Chris would have a fairly successful first year running in Can-Am, with multiple podiums between the pair, including sharing one at Bridgehampton. But a win was just out of their grasp for the first year, with the Lola T70s holding a firm grasp on the top step, winning 5 out of the 6 races. Despite this, Bruce still managed to finish third in the championship, and although the McLarens didn't win on track, the series was a general success commercially for the McLaren team, having sold multiple customer edition Mark 1s throughout the competition. But now Bruce's focus was on the season ahead, and he was eager to beat the Lolas. Now balancing his time between Can-Am and Formula One, Bruce only had 11 weeks to design and build 2 new McLarens to leave enough time for testing. He would cooperate with designers Robin Hurd and Gordon Kubik to bring an evolution to the already strong Mark 1s, with the ultimate goal of beating the competition 67, resulting in the McLaren M6A, bearing a mixed aluminium and magnesium monocoque design, and powered by a fuel-injected Chevrolet small block V8 amidship, creating in excess of 500 brake horsepower, and built by McLaren in-shop to ensure quality. The McLaren M6A was looking to be an absolute rocket ship, reinforced by the team's decision to switch livery to the bold and infamous papaya orange for the first time. The striking colour made the M6A stand out from the field, drawing in the eye of many fans and advertisers alike, most prominently Golf, who loved the vivid colour, which has since become a part of McLaren's identity. The small McLaren workshop was able to build 2 copies just in time to complete 2,000 miles of testing, before heading to the States for the 1967 championship. Now partnered with close friend and soon-to-be Formula One world champion Dennis Hulme, the pair of Kiwis would go on to set the Can-Am series alight, with Denny Hulme piloting the M6A to its debut win at Road America. The McLaren pair would go on to trade wins for the rest of the season, bar the finale, which neither Bruce nor Denny entered. Such was their dominance on track that during the third round at Mosport Park, the leading Denny Hulme was so far ahead of all the drivers that not even a puncture on the final lap, forcing him to slowly limp around the circuit, could take away his victory. The series was quickly dubbed the Bruce and Denny Show by the media, and the results showed, as Bruce claimed the championship with 30 points to Denny's 27, absolutely smashing the competition, showcasing the team's innate talents in racing innovation and engineering, along with bringing home an abundance of prize money and car orders for the team to continue racing. Focusing on continuous innovation, the team would constantly look to develop their winning formula year after year, upgrading the McLaren Mark 6A to the monstrous Mark 8A, which housed the larger Chevy Big Block V8 for the 1968 season, trading increased performance for less reliability, using it to claim another 4 victories and taking first and second in the championship once more, with Denny Hulme claiming the championship for 1968. McLaren would take cues from the Chaparral 2E for the larger 11-round 1969 Can-Am season, by attaching a suspension-mounted rear wing to the improved M8B. The result of this would be the Bruce and Denny Show's strongest season yet, despite the larger calendar giving the competition more opportunities to win. Throughout the whole season, the top step of the podium would be reserved for Bruce and Denny exclusively. Even with the debuts of major manufacturers Porsche, Audi, and privateers running Fords and Ferraris within the competition, the young McLaren team continued to punch above their weight consistently, with no one getting near them in the championship. Bruce would take his second championship crown with 165 points to Denny's 160, while American driver Chuck Parsons took third with only 85 points. Reaping in further awards after every dominant performance, McLaren was unstoppable. Heading into the 1970 season, the team spirits were high. Despite the banning of suspension-mounted wings by the FIA under the guise of safety, Bruce would be forced to change aerodynamic philosophy again, pushing to return to bodywork aerodynamics and ultimately birthing the McLaren M8D. This beast boasted a giant wing in between 2 smaller shark fins at the rear of the sports car, along with housing a larger engine producing 670 brake horsepower at 6,800 RPM. The McLaren team had created an absolute monster of a machine. A monster that would end up destroying its maker. On the 2nd of June 1970, just days before the season opener at Mosport Park, Bruce would be testing the M8D and M14A at the Goodwood circuit, doing a few laps at a time before returning to the pits to dial in the car's setup and heading out again. And at 12 o'clock, Bruce would leave the pits one final time. After a few laps, Bruce was heading down the high-speed Levant Straight, until the car's bodywork and aerodynamics buckled under the load and ripped off the M8D, causing an instant loss of downforce. Bruce could do nothing. He spun off track into an abandoned marshal's post, killing him instantly. The tragic loss of their founder and friend left the McLaren team shattered, unsure of what to do next. The small team initially decided to take a few days off to process the loss of Bruce. Yet over time, each team member found themselves heading back to the empty warehouse. The team rallied behind their shared passion for racing and the love of their friend, with Bruce's right-hand man and McLaren co-founder Teddy Mayer addressing the team. Well, we don't have a boss, we don't have a driver, and we don't even have a car, but we do have a motor race, and we all owe it to Bruce to race, so we might as well get to it. The team mobilized, set on a goal once again to continue racing for Bruce, and set their sights on the Can-Am season ahead, heading to Mosport Park with one goal in mind: winning. And win they did, winning every round that season bar one, with Denny continuing to race for McLaren and sealing the 1970 championship in honour of his friend. The McLaren team would continue to dominate the Can-Am series until Porsche took the crown in 1972. McLaren has since become a mainstay in sports car and open-wheel racing, continuing to race under the example set by Bruce all those years ago, that of constant innovation and utter passion for motorsport. With their early dominant successes in McLaren's Can-Am excursion, alongside their strong and sustained involvement in Formula One, building the foundations of their racing and automotive design heritage, growing from a small-scale operation punching above their weight into an icon of global motorsport.